Hey, and we are live. Hello, Miriam.
Hey, Natalie, how are you?
I am good. I can't even say long time no speak, right? Because we just spoke.
Well, happy to talk to you again. It's always a pleasure.
I know. We have so much to talk about. But first of all, I do want to point out that you are actually joining us from where are you located?
You.
Cleveland, Ohio. So what time is it for you now?
For 11 o'clock a.m. now.
11 o'clock a.m. And for us in Israel, it is 6 p.m. So we're having a global conversation here across the globe in the Born to Do Business global community. And I'm very excited to interview Miriam today because Miriam has an amazing business that is growing and growing and growing. So inspiring. And we have so much to talk about. But before we start, I do want to read your bio because not everyone knows you, and I do want to share where you're from and what you've done until now, and then we'll just dive in the questions. Are you good with that?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. So Miriam Friedman Koval is the founder of and owner of Wellness Delivered by Miriam. Miriam grew up in Toronto, Ontario, enjoying vegetables from her family garden, doing yoga with her mother in the 70s, composting and sampling interesting food that her father surprised the children with, like bee pollen and raw sugar cane. She has lived in Cleveland, Ohio with her husband and children for 2 decades. Miriam received her education from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, where she studied innovative coaching methods, practical lifestyle management techniques, as well as over 100 dietary theories, including Ayurveda, gluten-free, paleo, raw, vegan, and macrobiotics. You have to know how to read those words. Her teachers and mentors at the Institute include such world-renowned wellness experts such as Deepak Chopra, Andrew Well, Mark Hyman, and Joel Foreman. This education has equipped Miriam with extensive cutting-edge knowledge in holistic nutrition, health coaching, and prevention. Today, Miriam is an integrative nutrition health coach, recipe developer, and personal chef who specializes in healthy nutrition, dense food. She's a guide and mentor who empowers her clients with ongoing support and guidance as they set goals and make sustainable changes that improve health, positive energy, and happiness. Together, Miriam and her clients navigate the world of contradictory nutrition and health advice to explore what truly works. She believes that no one diet works for everyone, and that gradual and individualized changes will support reaching one's health goal over the long term. Wow, very impressive bio, Miriam. Thank you so much for being with us. So the first question I ask, usually because we are in the Born to Do business, the first question I ask all my guests is, when did this happen to you? Like, where did you have one day you woke up and you said, oh, I'm going to just, sell wellness packages? Like, was this gradual? Was this a aha moment? Because we hear that your family was already in all the health and wellness. So can you tell us, how did this whole happen?
Okay, so it's been a journey. And like I say, I grew up in a home where there was a lot of healthy, interesting food. I know we'd come home from school, there'd always be like a big box of fruit as soon as we'd come in, and we'd help ourselves to that. We had a vegetable garden. And when there was like interesting food, my father would somehow find it and bring it home for us to experience. So that was the environment I grew up in. And I was, relatively health conscious the way I ate. I did do schooling to become an integrative nutrition health coach. And it was back in 2000, I think it might have been 2015, when I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who is a doctor and has a very busy schedule. And she was telling me, she said, like, I would love to eat healthy, but I don't have the time. It takes time. She says, I wish I would have someone that could just like cook the food for me, deliver it to my door, and I'd be like as healthy as could be. And I think, sometimes we have conversations and it simmers in our mind. Like sometimes we'll hear something and it takes some time and it simmers and sort of sits there. And then, you hear it enough times and you hear the same concept from other people and you're like, okay, well, I need to do something about this. Here is a niche that's available. Here's something that people want. And there's no kosher meal plan out there that actually has this service that's going to deliver it, that's going to prepare it and deliver it to your door. Now, I know that there's concepts like this in the non-kosher world, but for people that are keeping kosher, they didn't have this possibility. And I'm living in Cleveland. I started off small. I sort of like reached out to a few people and I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to try this. Do you want to join? Basically, the concept is going to be all your food will be cooked, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. You'll get all your snacks and your drinks, and it's going to come to your door ready to heat and eat. It's going to be very healthy, very nutritious. It'll help with weight loss because you're eating all sorts of like good, healthy, well-balanced food, and everything you're eating really has a purpose to it in terms of, you have your yogurt for the probiotics, you have your green tea for the antioxidants, and it speeds up the metabolism about a bit. You have all your vegetables and your whole foods and your lean protein. Like it's all really, really healthy, good, natural, fresh food. So really what I thought, I would do it for about 2.5 weeks because I was following this plan that's a 17-day diet plan. And I got a couple of clients. We tried it and then it was done. It was 17 days. It had really worked fabulously. And I was ready to move on from my extracurricular activity that I had taken on. And then my clients were like, no, you can't stop this now. Like, this is exactly what we were looking for. We want to be eating this healthy, nutritious food. Either we don't have the knowledge in terms of, well, how do I create this and what am I supposed to be eating? Or we don't have the time, we don't have the ability, whatever it is. And basically we were enabling these clients to really take care of their health, take care of their wellness, eat well, and lose weight at the same time. So that's where we are today. About 5 or 6 years later, people didn't want to stop.
Fast forward 5 or 6 years later, and you're not doing this as an extracurricular activity, but you have more than one location. So tell us, you started in Cleveland with a few clients, and 6 years later, where are you with all over the States?
Right. So it's interesting because I would put some of the dishes on Instagram, on Facebook, and I kept getting requests, do you ship? And in my mind, I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to ship. There's all these requests coming from different cities. I had a client that I was working with in Cleveland, and she asked me if I would ship her food to Florida for her. She was finishing, she was going on vacation and she wanted to continue in Florida. So I researched all about like the food safety piece. I was like so concerned that this food reached Florida at a safe temperature and that it's going to, have it be safe in terms, you have to be careful with food and food safety. So I did all that research and packed it up to go. And I thought like, okay, this is amazing. It got there and I wasn't very happy with the quality it arrived in. It was very safe, but in terms of like some cracked packaging, and I was like, no, we have to like think of another idea. Shipping is just not a great option, especially since everything is made fresh that day. And there's a tremendous amount of vegetables, protein, and it's not food really that freezes. So it's not something that you could do in advance and freeze it and then send it. So I was like, okay. And then I actually went to the Jewish Woman Entrepreneur Convention. I met Deanie Klein from Prep and Rally, and she told me, she's like, you need to work smarter instead of harder. And you know how I was saying that certain concepts, like it takes time, it simmers in your mind. And then one day I just woke up with this aha moment. Clients from all across the United States and Canada want this food. The shipping is not a great plan. Work smarter instead of harder. What does that mean? That means opening up kitchens and staffing them in different cities, different countries, and work that way. So we did one at a time. We started in Lakewood, New Jersey. We got that off the ground. We have a wonderful program going in New Jersey. It's very, very popular there. And then I was getting a lot of requests from my hometown, Toronto. Nice. And I'm like, okay, well, we can do this there too. So we opened up in Toronto, then moving on to Brooklyn, the 5 towns. And here's some really exciting news that I have not announced yet, but this is, I guess, the best place to announce it.
Yes, it is.
Yes, so we're actually opening up a ranch in Florida.
Wow.
So
Wow, wow, wow. So how many locations do you have altogether now?
I think we'll be at 6. Oh, one more. Hold on. We forgot about one more. We are actually doing a pilot program in Israel to see how that goes.
Wow, that is
So,
big news. I read
yeah,
that somewhere. Yeah, I forgot to ask you about that. You are
yeah,
doing a pilot in Israel.
yes. So
Wow.
that's obviously very different than anything we're used to. So we're starting off really small. We're going to try it out. And if it's hopefully successful, then we'll move on to bigger and better and make it
Wow.
more in Israel.
What I love about your story, obviously very inspiring, is that it's very organic, right? They're talking about food, right? But it's very organic in a way that it really grew together with you, meaning, you started in Cleveland and then you had requests here, requests there. So it wasn't like you started your business saying, I want to open 10 locations, but every time it's just growing and growing and it's becoming really big. And it's really like we can talk now about a it's not multinational, but multi-states, definitely. And if you come to Israel, then it's going to be an international business.
Well,
So
it's
that is
already international because we're in Canada. So got Canada, got
exactly.
Israel. So I think we qualify as international,
We
actually.
are, yes. Yes, yes, you definitely do qualify to be international business. So tell me, because we always talk here about the born to do, the unique brilliance. So in this business, you have so much involved, right? You have, of course, preparing the food, but you also have finding the clients and you also have starting a new kitchen. So where is Miriam's unique brilliance? Where would you say that it's really your unique brilliance, what you do best that no one can do like you? Like, which part of the business is exactly your unique brilliance? Can you pinpoint that for us?
I would say there's a bit of or maybe a little more than a bit of a positive mindset,
Right.
and the I can do attitude.
Right.
And when someone talks to me about an opportunity, I never think about why can't I do it. I figure out like how can I do it. So I think that's where it might come from. We have a lot of customer support, and we really aim to do a lot of customer satisfaction and trying to work with the client to make sure that we are going to do what it takes to enable this client to be successful.
Right. And so it's really like your positioning, right? The product is not cheap.
Right.
But the service that comes with it is a very high end, very exclusive, all turnkey like project that you don't have to do anything, and so people get really a lot of satisfaction from this. And I think your unique brilliance is also with the food, right? You also know exactly what food to put together. So do you still enjoy doing this, or is it now just a business and other people do it for you?
Oh, actually, I love it. And as a matter of fact, we're talking about for down the road that maybe I'm going to give up the Cleveland piece. And I'm like, not in terms of giving it up, in terms of hiring other people. And I'm like, that would actually be really hard for me. I love the creative piece. I love actually bonding with my clients and knowing their preferences and working with them. So I do. It's a lot of fun for me. I love connecting with people. I'm a creative brain, so this is like a place that I can certainly use my creativity and enjoy it with food and the food prep and food design. And okay, what can we put in here? What sort of herbs? What sort of spices would look cool? Would taste cool? How do we pair this up? Even in terms of colors. Okay, well, if we've got the green, now I'm going to want the red or something, something else to make this meal look really vibrant.
Right, right. Wow, that's amazing. And I think that it's also, I hope that the connection is good. I'm just going to make sure if we have people live with us. By the way, if you have any questions to ask Miriam, feel free to ask Miriam. Can you hear me, or are you frozen? Are you
I
good?
hear you. I hear you.
Okay, good.
Do you hear me okay?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. So I want to talk a little bit about the food, right? Because you have an interesting concept that you speak about intuitive eating. So what do you mean by intuitive eating, and can you tell us more about that?
Sure. Okay. So intuitive eating is really listening to your body and what your body needs. So, for real long-term healthy well-being, wellness, and weight management, you want to listen to your body. Our body is sending us cues all the time. Our bodies are telling us things. And if we're in tune with our body, we're going to be hearing the cues and we're going to be listening to them, right? So sometimes people eat because, they could eat out of habit. They could eat because they're anxious or stressed or even like to celebrate or sometimes to procrastinate. There's so many reasons people eat. But if you're listening to your body, you're going to eat when your body is hungry and stop when your body is full. So what we do is we provide very large portions to our clients because we have some guys that are 6'4" and 300 pounds, and we have some females that could be 5'2" and 115 pounds, right? So we're providing very large portions, and we tell people, sit down, eat mindfully, okay? So in order to eat mindfully, you want to use your senses. You want to take a moment, look at that food. It's beautiful. It's prepared beautifully. It's colorful. It's vibrant. You want to sort of take in the smell of the food. You want to taste the food, okay? And feel the food on your tongue. And really eat mindfully. You're not just like walking around and nibbling or quickly shoveling in the food. You want to take the time to eat mindfully. And while you're eating, let's say, halfway through your portion, take a moment and say, well, where's my body holding now? Is my body feeling full? Is my body hungry? And I do tell clients, I say, imagine that you've got a line in front of yourself, this one long line, like a line, right? At the beginning of the line, you have a 1. At the end of the line, you have a 10. That 1 is you are absolutely famished. I mean, you are beyond starving. Okay. Then you go to 2, which is starving. 3 is really hungry. 4 is you're ready to start your meal, right? And then on the other side, we have 10 where you have absolutely overeaten and feel nauseated because you've eaten so much. So I always tell my clients, I said, find a point that's going to work for you that'll be your comfortable fullness. You want to be comfortably full. For many people, it's between a 7 and an 8. That'll be your comfortable fullness. I've had clients that told me I need to feel like in order to be satisfied, I need more than that comfortable fullness. And I'll be like, that's okay. Listen to your body. You feel like you need more than just comfortable fullness, go between an 8 and a 9. So when you're eating, take some time to ask yourself, where am I holding now? Am I at a 5? Am I at a 7? Do I want more? Do I want to put this away and eat a little bit later? Or am I done? And, pass on the rest to my spouse, my child, my friends, whoever. So we really do try and incorporate that intuitive eating to the client. While you're eating, you're going to be provided with large portions. You will not be hungry on this plan. And I always say, and if you are hungry, let us know. We'll double up your portion. We'll give you as much as you want.
Right.
But just listen to your body when you're eating.
That's really interesting because, I've always had this dilemma because I'm a snack eater, right? So I eat very, very small portions and I get full very fast. And I always hear those nutritionists to say better to eat a full meal so that you won't be hungry in an hour or a half hour or 2 hours. So sit down, eat your full meal so that you won't be hungry later. Like you said, I think I have a habit, right? So my habit is to eat small portions very often, and I listen to my body. So whenever I'm not hungry, I stop eating. But then in the I
Sorry, Natalie, I think I lost you for a minute there. You're frozen.
Miriam, are you with me?
I'm there, but you were frozen.
Hold on. Stay here. I'm to another
okay, I see you now.
to the hotspot. 1 second. Sorry about this.
Problem.
You hear? Sorry, technology. We have sometimes those internet connection problems, but we're back. So, did you hear my question, or should I
I
repeat it?
believe I did. So let me just make sure I understood it. You're
Okay.
saying that you are intuitively a snack person. You like smaller meals more often.
Right.
And what I'm going to tell you is, well, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If you are eating the right foods when you're snacking, and you're snacking mindfully, meaning you're not just walking around your house nibbling without even being aware that you're snacking, and you rather have, 5 or 6 mini meals over the course of a day, and you're listening to your body, there's really nothing wrong with that. But those snacks should be eaten mindfully, like sitting down when you snack and eating mindfully, looking at the food, smelling the food, tasting the food, enjoying and appreciating the food.
So I love what you're saying, because it means that there's no one rule fits all, right? Like no one can tell you really how to eat. You really have to listen to your body. And there's something else that you said also when I asked you what you wanted to talk about, and you said, how to be kind to ourselves. So do you see that clients are hard on themselves? Like how is it to be kind on ourselves with food? Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, I see it so often where clients are so hard on themselves and so judging themselves. And what happens is they'll feel like, oh, I ate the wrong food. And then it goes into a spiral. Like, well, I anyways had this piece of cake that I shouldn't have had. And therefore, right now, I'm going to have this, bowl of candy and then move on to the chips and then to the ice cream. And really, what we try and do is reach a mindset where, like, this is okay. You had your cake. I'm like, did you enjoy it? And oftentimes what happens is a person's like eating with so much guilt that they're even enjoying the food.
Right.
So, sometimes I said there is a place for treats in your life. Okay. Now, obviously, sometimes we have health issues, if a person is diabetic or something like that, where they really can't afford, and then obviously we need that health is going to be first and foremost. But oftentimes, most people could really afford to treat themselves every now and then. But when we talk about treats, we're like, this is not about, we don't call it cheats. We call it treats. Okay. You're not cheating. You're not, you're not doing something bad. It's like, you can have your treat and enjoy it. And I'm like, and eat it mindfully and then be done. The problem is when people beat themselves up about it after and it just spirals. And I say, what did you gain? You didn't enjoy the treat. You didn't enjoy anything you were eating after that. And then you're left with one big feeling of guilt. So really, we want to focus in general. When a person is listening to their body's cues, they become so much more self-aware in terms of what their body is telling them. And it's not only about food. Our body is telling us sometimes how we're doing emotionally, how we're feeling. If a person is feeling, their heart racing, or they're feeling really, those feelings that person can get when they have, when they're feeling very anxious, right? I'm like, listen to your body. Your body is telling you something, and we need to listen and then act on what our body is telling us.
Wow.
I do a little reflection with some of my clients when we do one-on-one time, and I say our body is constantly doing things, and if we're not focused on it, we're not going to hear it. And one of the reflections I do with my clients is I say, fine. Are we lost again? Because I hear you and I see you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I say, find your pulse, put your finger on your pulse, count it take a minute and see, count your pulse. They do it, they find their pulse, and then they're done. I say, okay, now we're going to do our next, our next step is going to be, first of all, we get to a point of relaxation where we do some deep breathing together. They say, take your palms and put it on your legs. Now what you're going to do is, without touching, I want you to listen to your body, see if you can feel a pulse anywhere, see if you can feel your heart beating somewhere in your body. And when a person is very calm and very relaxed and very focused, they will find that in their body. And then I say, okay, your body is doing something, but in the noise and chaos of our life, you're not listening to your heart beating. It's happening, right? So, we bring it then to the example of food. Our body has the cues. Our body is giving us the cues. But when we're not focused, when we're not listening to them, we're not going to hear it. But as you become more of a mindful eater, and more focused on what is it that your body is telling you, you really begin to hear those cues and respect those cues.
Wow. Well, it sounds like it's a lot of psychology, a lot of coaching, a lot of even spiritual dimension to how we eat, and much more than just having a meal delivered to your door. It sounds like you have a whole theory and a whole approach that your clients are enjoying beyond the food, right? Because the food is great, but you also have this touch, so that is amazing. That is amazing. Do you think that clients enjoy the food that comes with the coaching, or the coaching that comes with the food?
Well, I would say both. The food that comes with the coaching, the coaching that comes with the food. Um, yeah, we like to, it's interesting because when we started, at the beginning of COVID, we started in Lakewood, New Jersey, and a couple of days into the cycle, we had to shut down. It was back in March when nobody knew anything and everybody was afraid of everything, rightfully so. So the business came to a standstill. And I had a couple of clients reach out to me and they told me, they said, like, how could we continue this? They said, in a world of chaos where everything is so uncertain, this is one area of control that I have in my life, that I feel like I sit down to these delicious, healthy, vibrant meals. Everything else is chaotic. This is like the one area of control and normalcy and feeling good. And unfortunately, we shut down for that cycle. And then, thank goodness, we're up and running better than ever at this point. But it was interesting to hear that from people. Like, this just helps me feel in control. This helps me feel healthy and good, satisfied, like that one area of my life that things are going well where everything else is totally out of control.
Right. And a lot of people, me included, I should say, started cooking during COVID, right? I don't know why I started cooking. I mean, I like cooking, but I never have time. But then during COVID, I started to want to make recipes. And I think what you're saying really makes sense. It's the control over something. It's like starting something, finishing something, even if you're going to be home and you can't go out. I think I did it when I was in one of those weeks where, I couldn't get out and I was, I had to stay home. And then you say, okay, I'm still going to have control over what I eat, and I'm still going to have control over what I cook. And I think the control aspect is a very, very important one. You're right. And also the pleasure, right? Food is immediate pleasure, right? So, but I heard a lot of people that started cooking or starting, investing more in the kitchen, or, being careful about what they eat and what they buy. A lot of habits were, changed during COVID. Did you find that out too as well with your clients?
Well, we were basically doing the cooking for them.
Right.
So, but again, the message that I kept getting in COVID is, like, in a world that's gone crazy, this is like our one normalcy, our one area of feeling good. Things are under control. I'm taking care of myself in a way that I can, because so much is out of our control. And here is one thing that we can maintain control over, and eating healthy and feeling good. So that was the message that I kept getting.
The message, right?
Yeah.
So the last question that I want to ask you, because I'm sure we are a group of mainly women. This is the Born to Do business community. We're close to 1,400. I didn't count, but I think we're probably 80% women entrepreneurs, and so we always are either on a diet, or will be on a diet, or have been on a diet. I mean, I don't really like diet, but we're careful with what we eat. But what do you say to people who feel like they fell off the bandwagon, like people that are, either, starting a diet and then stopping, or like, what do you say to them so that, like you said, it doesn't become like a cycle, a vicious cycle where you feel guilty and all that? So what do you say to them?
Right. Okay. So the first thing I try and do, and this is, telling them, like, you can do this. You can eat well. You can feel good. You can be healthy. And then basically we look at reasons. So what's going on? What is the reason that you're feeling out of control? And a lot of times it's a big empty hole inside of them that they're trying to fill. And it could be, again, anxiety, stress, depression, boredom, loneliness. Sometimes it's just habit, Sometimes it's not a bad thing. It's this sort of, okay, I'm entitled to celebrate. I just finished a big project. I finished a test. And then they spiral from there. So really what we try and tell them is, first of all, what are you trying to fill? Why is it that you feel so out of control? And that's oftentimes the first step. And then we try and replace that. And we try and put in healthy habits, like getting people involved in exercise, in more enjoyable different things for them, getting them out there. And that's like the first step, is just sort of looking at what's going on here. And then it's also about working with the client to teach them how to do it. Sometimes people are really lacking the knowledge in terms of, what am I supposed to do and how am I supposed to do it? Sometimes I'll work with clients and they're just so busy, they can't figure out how to implement this. And I'm not talking about only the clients that are getting the diet. I'm talking about the clients that I'm coaching and working with. And sometimes it's like really making a list in terms of, here's a shopping list for you, and here's how you can do this meal prep in an hour. I will teach you how to do this so quickly, and how to get the containers in your fridge. So your fridge is like a pantry. It's like grab and go. Instead of opening up your pantry, grabbing pretzels, you're opening up your fridge and grabbing, a healthy container full of all sorts of good things. It's about being prepared and knowing how to do it. I did before Pesach last year, I did a Zoom session in terms of how to cook 6 meals in under 90 minutes. We ended up getting done in 60 minutes. We didn't need the 90 minutes. So I teach clients how to do this in a very, very efficient manner, so that this doesn't have to overtake your life. If you want to learn how to cook healthy, I can teach you how to do this very quickly, very efficiently. So It's about, so that's what it is, getting back on track, finding out like, what is hindering me? Why am I doing this? What can I replace it with? And then learning how to do it.
Right. Wow. Amazing. It sounds amazing. It sounds so easy when you talk about it, right?
Oh, thank you, Natalie. It really is not that hard. That's the honest truth.
That's true. But, because you know what you're talking about, you're definitely and obviously an expert, right? And so when you are an expert and you teach other people, but then you know that it's not hard. But the other people that don't know, it's the same for me with business. For me, it's obvious. So it sounds easy, right? But everyone with their own expertise. For me, cooking healthy food is like, oh my God, and for you, it's like, yeah, of course, easy, right? So I love it how everyone has their expertise, and we need to learn from the experts, because we cannot be experts in everything. We have our own
that unique brilliance, right? That's your terminology, unique brilliance.
Yes, exactly. And so it sounds so good to hear you, because you sound aligned and you are in your unique brilliance, and you definitely know what you're talking about. And so it's amazing that your clients can enjoy not only the advice and the psychology and the coaching, but also the done it for you, right? I think that this is what people really appreciate, right? Because coaching, we have a lot of coaches and everyone has their place, of course. But I think that people that can afford it, people that can afford that amount of that product, they like the done it for you. They don't want to, or they don't have time, or they don't want to learn or have to do it themselves. And I think there is a market for people that are ready to invest. And I think that it's really smart from you to say, yes, it's expensive. It's only for those who can afford it. And
it's luxury plan. Right.
Exactly. So the good news is that you have a surprise and a gift for the community, the Born to Do Business community. So you promised to offer a discount. Do you want to tell us what is the discount for the meal plan and for the coaching?
Okay. So first of all, I just want to say the code word is going to be Natalie. So you got to send this code when you want to sign up for the discount. So I'm actually offering $100 off today for the meal plan, if anybody wants to sign up. And in terms of coaching, we're going to give 10% off. Again, you have to use the word Natalie. That's going to be our password for your 10% off. And we'll be happy to get you set up.
Amazing. So what you can do, Miriam, and like I said, sometimes people don't come in the live, they come after. So what would be great is if you can go into the live, the post right after we finish, and write down your, email or where people can find you, and what is the discount and the code name, obviously. And so people can enjoy that. And I'm always very happy when people from the community can help each other and can enjoy and get to know you also, and then they can pass it on. And I think it's a great way for everyone to get to know you. So thank you so much, Miriam, for sharing.
Natalie, I appreciate it. I just want to end up with one cute little anecdote that happened here yesterday.
Please.
Okay. So I talk to my children. We don't focus on weight management, but I talk about listening to your body a lot. Okay. That's a message I want my children to have and take with them and keep with them. So I have a 6-year-old, and I had put her to bed last night, and she showed up downstairs a couple of minutes later, and I'm like, what are you doing downstairs? She said, well, my body wants red grapes right now, and you always tell me to listen to my body, so I need some red grapes.
I love it. And did she get it?
Of course. How was I not going to give it to her? She
But
knows
I love
exactly.
that. My buddy told me that, well, it's good it was only red grapes and not something else, right? My buddy,
Exactly. I think she knew her limitations. She knew
right.
she was down and asked for something else and wasn't going to
Yeah,
happen.
but that's so
But
true
her
that
body, yeah.
she knows exactly how to phrase it and how to say it, and that she integrated, that this is how it works. So that's really, really a cute anecdote. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. And this is our last live of the week. Today is Thursday, so in Israel we don't work on Friday, so we already say Shabbat Shalom, good weekend to everyone. Of course, everyone else in the world, people work on Friday, so if you still have one day before the weekend, you should enjoy the end of the week. And next week, as you all know, because we've talked about it enough, we have our 3 days live training on systems. So we won't have our meditation Sunday, and we won't have our inspiration Tuesday, but we will have our 3 days of training in this group. So thank you, Miriam. I think you will be participating if the timings are good, right?
Hoping to. Yes. Yes.
Amazing.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for sharing your inspiring story. And please put the gifts in the chat below so that people can enjoy working with you and the discount. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.